Kiana, would you mind taking roll call?
Sure. Let me just get myself ready here. You were ready like 2 seconds before me this. Okay. All right, here we go. Denise Stansel.
Denise Stansel, Chair, present.
Kiana McGee, co-chair. Good to see you all today. Miracle McKinney.
Miracle McKinney, Area 1 Rep, present.
Awesome. Lucas Dobb.
Lucas Dabb, Area 2 Rep, present.
Awesome. Jennifer McMillan.
Jennifer McMillan, Area 2 Rep, present.
Gwendolyn Jones.
Gwendolyn Jones, Area 3 Rep, present.
Saray Rogers. Are you on, Saray?
I don't see him.
Okay. All right. Moving right along. Eric Nelson.
Treasurer present.
Okay. Lauren Hollis.
Lauren Hollis, Media Coordinator, present.
Awesome. Anisha Jones.
Anisha Jones, Area Rep.
Awesome. Kimberly Oates. I think she said she was sick. Oh, she's sick. Okay. Johnny, I think, is running a minute late. Oh, you are. Oh, sorry, Johnny. And Misty Wilkes.
Misty Wilkes, board member at large, present. Good morning, everybody.
All right, that's everybody.
Great. Okay, so moving along, public comments from the public on items not on the agenda, limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Let me look here. We're looking for public comments. I'm looking for hands raised. Any public comments?
You may want to mute or maybe make a co-host because I see a lot of open.
Okay, I'm going to do it right now.
Mr. Jackson, they said I can't get a picture with you. And he said, oh, don't worry about them. And he put his hand around me and we took all kind of selfies.
DH, can you please put yourself on mute?
Just never hit the end.
Okay. Kiana. Okay, are there any? Oh, there's a hand raised. I'm gonna try to make you co-host, Kiana, but I'm just
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see whose hands raised. Whose hand is that?
Kevin Wharton.
Kevin. Oh, I'll unmute. I muted. Okay.
Oh, they got it.
Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, I just wanted to share real quick that I believe it was Tuesday of this week. There was an incident in Africatown, Leimert Park on Degnan Boulevard, approximately between in front of her rooms. And there was a car of young people that were sitting there. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. My memory's bad. But there was a group of young people who were sitting in the car, just a couple sitting in the car. The police came up and was going by the car. Then they pulled back and then pulled up behind the car, pulled a young woman out of the car, physically abused her. And she also has a sprained wrist and some other, contusions and bruises to her ankle and her hand. I mean, not her ankle, but her wrist and her hands. And so I just wanted to share that with y'all because I know at a, can you turn that down, please? Sorry, he messed my thought up right there. I wanted to share that with because there's a complaint has been filed against law enforcement, and there seems to be a stepped up campaign on young people in the village, and it has now gotten very aggressive. And as I say, this young woman had been, she went to the hospital, got all the paperwork, and she's also filing a complaint. So I just wanted to share that. I remember seeing Johnny drove by, matter of fact, just before that happened. So I don't know if he remember. Yeah, and she didn't even get a ticket. And so really there was no reason for the whole stop, other than the fact that they were harassing young people on Degnan Boulevard. So I just want to kind of share that, let you know that I wasn't in the meeting where they were talking about the policing that needs to take place in the various areas. But I think this is a serious concern when you have no Black police, you have all Hispanic police, and they're very aggressive towards the Black community, especially in this case, this Black woman. And the guy who was on parole, they just handcuffed him, talked to him, let him go, but they roughed her up.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. We appreciate your information. Are there any other hands that need to be acknowledged? Any other public comments?
I don't see any more.
Okay. I don't know. All right, moving on. Reports and announcements from Los Angeles City Council District representatives. Let's look on here and see if we have anyone from the council office. Is there anyone from the council office? Okay. Okay, moving on. Other government officials? Any other government officials that want to step up and speak? I'm looking for hands. Any other? Okay, moving on. City departments and agencies? Anyone from any city department and agencies?
I'm here. My name is Alan Moret with the Office of the Mayor.
Oh, great. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
We were moving too fast through this agenda. I know we wanted to move fast. Okay.
What y'all don't want to spend time on Zoom this morning? What's going on?
No, we just want to get to our candidates forum.
I know. I saw that on the agenda. But I just want to say first and foremost, thank you to Equa and the team that came out to our Shine LA back in March. We did a cleanup right on the other side of Magic Johnson Theater in front of the Kaiser Permanente. We partnered with the council office, we partnered with Equa and a few other community organizations to gather together for the Shine LA initiative. I want to continue to encourage the team on the call here to reach out to our office to inform us of whether you're seeing encampments pop up in your council district or areas that need some love, cleaning, and some shine. We'd love to bring Shine LA to all of Los Angeles. I'm leading a Shine LA in Council District 10 in K-Town on May 16th. Then you all are more than welcome to join us on that lovely Saturday at 9 a.m. But I just want to say thank you for being present with us. And I want to encourage everyone to continue to use 311. And if anyone does have any questions about any recent news from the mayor's office, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the mayor for the mayor's office? I'm looking for hands. Going once.
Going twice.
All righty. Okay, moving on. Budget advocate update. I don't think we have a budget advocate update. So we're moving on to NC liaisons. Romero, would you like to give an update on Slank?
Okay, yes, we had a very robust meeting. We had presentation from the city controller, and the role of the controller, of course, is he's the city's accountant, and that's Kenneth Mejia, and he went over some of the data that is collected, and he suggested that anyone in the public can actually go to their website and get information on how much money is collected and how it is spent. And he encouraged community groups and individuals to do so. We also had a presentation from representative of Public Works Street Lighting Bureau, and they talked on behalf of residents approving a tax so that the budget for street lighting activities would get greater. Right now, it's an extremely small amount, and street lighting is responsible for operating the street lights that you see, designing them, constructing, and also maintaining. It has been particularly difficult over the last, say, 10 years because of copper theft. And this means that the lights go out. But it is a safety issue and also a beautification issue. And so the tax would be to property owners only. And the majority, the ballots went out. Whatever the majority vote is, yes or no, that will cover the whole city. And that would be Prop, I think, 218. The city budget is under review at this point. It started April 30th, and citizens and neighborhood councils can voice their opinion. It's normally organized so that certain departments are heard at certain times. And so it's important to pay attention to the agenda so that you'll be able to speak on the item that is most important to you. I'd like the opportunity, Denise, to give a fuller report to the board at the board meeting, because there might be some websites and more detailed information that the board would be interested in.
No problem. I'll definitely put you on our May 18th board meeting for sure. All right, and go back to this agenda. All right, so are there any, I know we're moving along in our agenda. Are there any representatives from the council district, government agencies, city departments online now, for we can see if you want to speak on anything? Okay. Moving on, reports, officers, committee, and media. Do we have any reports from any of the board members, or would you like to speak on anything? Anything coming up? I'm looking for hands.
Saray has his hand up.
Saray has.
Thank you, Kiana, and good morning, everybody. Thank you all for attending our meeting. I just want to briefly report on a job fair that's coming up. I've posted it, or it should be posted rather, to our Equa website. This is a partnership between the Work Source Center and the Family Source Center, where they do those huge food giveaways every Tuesday. I've got some help establishing job fairs, and we plan on having them, be ongoing at least every 2 months. The first one will be on May 13th, but the week before that, we're going to be doing a job hiring fair on May 8th. So you can come and get your resume, build up and get confident and ready to go for the actual job fair, which again will be on May 13th. And again, that should be on the website and on our mailing list. And just a friendly reminder about our youth rally coming up too on May 16th. So please, we'd love to have you all there. Thank you.
I think Nisha had a comment to add as well.
I was just going to promote the youth summit, but since Saray went ahead and did that, no worries. Hope to see you all on May 16th.
Could you give a little more detail, Anisha, please?
Yes, so it will be our first annual youth summit, and this is basically our effort to rally the young people and get their voices on change that's needed in the community. We want to be able to help them learn how to advocate, learn civic engagement, and so we're going to have breakout sessions with identity reflection and art. We're also going to have a session that's going to be hosted by Equa I think Daniel, our liaison, is going to do a breakout session. We're also going to have time and space for young people to come up with the ideas that matter to them, create a vision board. We'll have a DJ, we'll have food, and it's just a great way for us to kick off making sure that the youth know that they're heard and that they're valued. And we hope to see you all there March 16th. It'll start at 9, end at 12:30, the People Street, Lamert Park. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
March
Are there-
16th.
Yes. Yes.
May 16th.
May.
May 16th.
Making sure.
Time is going by.
Okay. Are there any other board members that would like to speak? Okay. We're having it's a collaboration of the fire department, CD10, other neighborhood councils. I'll put the flyer in the chat for Fire Service Day, which is next Saturday, in front of the Fire Station 94 that's located on King Boulevard. I'll put the flyers from 10 to 2. They'll have food, resource tables, exhibitions by the fire department, and if we're excited for you to come. Are there any other announcements by any board members that they would like to make?
I don't see any hands, but Alicia has a comment. I
Okay,
think.
go ahead, Alicia. Alicia?
Good morning. Last year, I volunteered with the event that was held at Station 94. Are you looking for volunteers to help? Because it was a lot of fun.
Yes, you can contact me offline and I'll definitely give you information.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements from anyone on the board or any of the committees or anything? Okay, we're moving along. We look like we're ready to get to the action. Okay, so I want to just speak on some house rules for this candidates forum. This is not a debate. Let me emphasize it again. This is not a debate. The candidates will not address each other. This is just an information session to gain insight on the candidates' positions on different items. The candidates will have 5 minutes to introduce themselves and speak on positions they choose. The order of introductions will be Ashley Brown, Billion Godsun, Keith Cascio, and Isaac Bryan. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions and a timer will be used. Stakeholders will be instructed to ask questions, no introductions to their questions, no stories before their questions, no preludes before their questions, just go straight to the questions. If that doesn't happen, then we will make all questions go inside the chat. And the facilitator of this particular event, which was supposed to be starting at 10:30, but we're a little early, will be our media coordinator, Lauren. So Lauren, I did make you co-host.
Okay.
So we could start the sharing the screen and you can do your thing. Let me
Before you do, as you're doing that, Denise, we're giving each candidate 5 minutes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you guys see the timer on my screen, on this screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, let me share this what you want me to share real quick. Okay.
While you're doing that, Denise, just
Okay.
again, I want to remind everyone what you said. You know, this is not a debate. No crosstalk, no individuals, conversations going on. It is just an information session and we want to keep it respectful and on point. If those rules are not followed, then everyone will be muted. So let's try to make this happen in as best way that we can. Thank you.
And Johnny will be our sergeant of arms, and he'll be along with myself, is controlling the order of questions and also muting people, and if hopefully we wouldn't have to remove anybody from the meeting.
I also, the timer I don't think is visible, but I'm gonna run it. I will be the mistress of ceremonies here with the timer, and I'm hoping you guys will at least be able to hear it when it happens. So just a heads up on that. Sorry, did you have a question?
Yeah, it's about the questioning at the end, or I guess Denise briefly went over that. If you can explain that one more time, how is this going to work after? Do we wait till everybody's done for questions? And
Yes, sir. You wait till everyone introduce themselves, and then we're going to take the questions in order. Whenever a person raises their hands, we'll call on them. They will ask their question, and then the candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question.
Okay,
if the question is directed to all the candidates, then that's fine. If it's directed to a specific candidate, then that's fine. And Lauren.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And we can,
all right.
The timer was visible up in the
A
right.
miracle hijacked my timer, I think.
Okay.
But I'm gonna let it.
What happened?
I don't know.
It's at the top right of the screen. It's
No,
like
I can see it on my side. I think it doesn't appear until I start it, and I think you started it. That's why we could all see it. But
okay, you got it.
Let's look. It said everything is disabled because Miracle is rocking with this timer right now. I said, okay, let me back up.
Okay, so
you got it.
We're going to turn it over to our media coordinator, Lauren, and just and everyone can see the flyer.
Yes.
Okay, great. Go for it,
Outstanding. Good morning. My name is Lauren Hollis, media coordinator for EQUA. I want to begin actually by thanking every one of you for taking the time out this morning to join us. It shows that our strength has always been in our engagement, and seeing so many people here. Board members, I'm sure, are excited to see so many people here on a Saturday morning, and it proves that our community is ready to shape its own future with all the stuff that's going on nationally and statewide. We know that everything starts at the local level. So thank you so much. As you can see, Denise has shared a visual of what the District 55 is. District 55 spans all of these zip codes, 9008 all the way to 90232, which is in the Culver City area. The boundaries are the I-10 freeway in Venice, Slauson Avenue, Western Avenue, and La Cienega and Sepulveda. So it's a very huge area. It encompasses a lot of people and a lot of parts of our city. But of course, today our focus here is to focus on our area, 90008. I want to make sure that all of the candidates are on today.
Yes, they are.
Outstanding, outstanding. Okay, all right. Okay, everyone's on. Okay, great. So Denise had mentioned that we're going to have an order. So we are starting with our candidate, Ashley Brown. We're going on to Billion Campbell, and then Keith Cascio, and then, of course, our Assemblyman Isaac Bryan. Ashley, are you on?
I am.
Yes, she is.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. Please give us your 5 minutes of introduction and let us know about yourself and about your candidacy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate that. And if at any point my background gets a little noisy, I apologize. I'm at a different event at the moment, so just let me know if it gets noisy. My name is Ashley Brown, and I'm running to represent the 55th Assembly District. I just want to say that this district is not only where I live currently, it is my home. It is where I've grown up. Many of those zip codes I've held. And so I'm not sure what's happening. And so it's also where I've learned what community means, where I've been born, where I've been raised, where I've, shared space with others. So What I've learned is that communities are built by people who stay involved, who look out for one another, and who invest in the future of like the place that they call home, which is what I'm trying to do at this time. District 55 is one of the most culturally rich communities in LA, from Leimert Park to Baldwin Hills, all the way to Mid City and Culver City, which is why I love it so much, and probably why I returned back home from college. And so it's where you have generations. There's landmarks, which are sadly closing, but it is the crust of the culture that people are referring to when they are talking about LA culture. They really mean District 55. So I want to just say that growing up here gives you a different relationship to public service. I am entering this from lived experience. So I'm starting with from where I grew up when I walked outside during the Rodney King unrest in the city. For those of y'all that remember, I'm standing outside my house with my parents and my neighbors, and we're watching Midtown, which is now Mid City, burn down, and watching it slowly rebuild. I also was one of those people who are trying to figure out what's going on with Roscoe's and why did it move from Pico and La Brea to Pico and Washington? This location is iconic. That's where Obama went, right? So I'm approaching this from lived experience, but also wanting to protect it and making sure that we stick to what makes this community call home, but also be a part of how it shapes and moves forward and grows. So when I'm outside talking to people in District 55, I hear a consistent message. They want their communities that they built. They want the nostalgia. They also want to move forward. They want to have safe places. They want it to be affordable. They want it to be connected to opportunity. I don't, as a person who lives there still, don't think those are complicated promises. I don't think they're even asking for those of us seeking to lead to it's not complicated for their daily reality. And I think it's something that's achievable. However, right now, there's a lot of noise around leadership, just in general. There's a lot of talking, a lot of reacting, a lot of performance, especially on social media. So what's been striking to me is that I myself, as a community member, as well as other folks in the community, I'm not looking for performance. I'm looking for results. Leadership is not about who can make the most noise, who can be the loudest. It's about stability, about follow through, and about the work beyond the moment, right? We see a lot about protests and protest culture, but what happens after we protest? Okay, so my work is grounded in 3 priorities. The first is women's health and mental health. We cannot build strong communities without the women who are the backbones of those communities, and also maintaining our mental health, because if I am feeling depressed, I don't care about going to work or maintaining my housing or anything else. I'm struggling day to day. Second, we're looking at education as a pathway to economic stability. Our youth are our future. Most of what people are frustrated by with the different events that happen in Leimert are caused by the youth who we're not pouring into anymore. This will have an event and there's nothing for them to do. So just something to think about.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you for looks like we had the Oscar music coming in.
Yeah.
To let us know that we had to move on. We'll definitely give you some opportunity later on in the forum to expand on some of your thoughts. Next up, we have Billion. Billion, are you on?
Yeah.
Outstanding. And good morning to you. And go ahead and let us know a little bit about you, Billion.
All right, my time has started already. Could we back it up? All right, yes, my name is Billion Godsun. On your ballot, you will see William Billion Campbell, as I did not pay the courts to have my name changed. I have lived in this community since 1980, was 45 years now. In my adult life, my work has been everything from working in summer programs to developing one of the largest tutoring programs, the Study Institute, where we initially started at Ladera Park with 30 students. We then went to several different satellite sites, including Windsor Hills Elementary, Parent Elementary, and Carthay, and a number of others. But I left that work in the early 2000s as I saw police terrorism was picking up. And I knew we had to have a more direct involvement as opposed to constantly going to police commissions, arguing with them to do what they're not going to do, hoping the courts would do something. And gradually, I have developed a number of organizations that have brought about community safety. In addition, people will see every Sunday a community we have helped to develop and it's not an accident that Black LA has been erased. It's through decades of neglect, decades of a practice where too many officials pick and choose which organizations and individuals they will push policies to help a very few. Quite often when we hear elected officials read their resumes, the majority of people don't hear anything that they benefit from. The majority of people we know right now are upset with a number of our officials who actually tend to evade coming out and engaging the public and owning up to accountability. So what we have heard as we moved around the district for the past several months, affordability is a huge issue pretty much for everybody. But more specifically for the Black community, people want the reparations that we had in 2024. We had 2 bills. We had got through an entire legislative process to get to the finish line that was blocked by the California Legislative Black Caucus. One bill would have actually began a fund to start paying those of us who are descendants. And for me, it's upsetting like the deals are tied into the Israel lobby, where they're sending money overseas that does not come back and benefit Americans here in our country. That money tends to come back and benefit the same candidates who are sending that money overseas. So our intentions with this election is to end that practice, which is displacing the Black community out of California. And again, my track record, which is detailed on Facebook for at least the past 15 years, shows the work we're doing, shows we've done more than just protests, but shows we have consistently produced results. So one of the things we're actually working on right now today, after we get off of this candidate forum, we're working with 4 different older Black business owners who properties are under attack. Unfortunately, they're under attack by other Blacks, but again, there are not mechanisms that have been put in place to protect them. But we know, again, were the reparations that we all are owed pushed forward, they as individuals would have those funds to access, but also they would have a stronger customer base, which is the biggest part of business, is having a customer base to patronize you. But again, as we know, we've been pushed out of LA by the thousands. That's a major part of why our businesses are suffering right now. So I'll fall back and end right there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Billion. Thank you for that perspective. Gives us some unique insight into what's going on in the community. Is Keith Cascio on?
Yes, he is.
All right, Keith. Yes, Keith, good morning to you. Thanks so much for coming. We'll go ahead and let you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, 8055. Good morning, Lamert Park. Good morning, Equa. one of the most professional, best organized neighborhood councils in Los Angeles. Good morning, Ashley. Good morning, Billion, and good morning, Assemblyman Bryan. I am Keith Cascio. I am the moderate Republican running to represent the 55th, the district that has not elected a Republican in 70 years. It is such a joy and an honor to be the person that might catalyze how to create a sea change in American politics, because that is what the significance would be if this district, the most ethnically and culturally diverse district in California, were to elect a Republican. It would flip American politics upside down, the whole country. It would change things forever. I am an experienced candidate. I've been running for this seat for 3 cycles now. If somebody could have told me how much I would enjoy this, I would have done it earlier in life. I'm 47 years old. I'm a software engineer by profession. I really like software engineering, but my goodness, it is so satisfying to my sense of curiosity to do the kind of work that I do in this district. So my party that I'm affiliated with is not trusted in the 55th. It's not trusted by the Black community. It's not trusted by the Latino community. It's not trusted by the LGBT community. It's not trusted by women, basically. Nevertheless, I've been treated extremely fairly, and I've made so many friends, and I've learned so much. And at Isla LA Mosque on Slauson, when I worshiped there one day, I listened to Imam Jihad Safir give the sermon, and he said that if you want an outcome to change on the outside, you have to change on the inside first. And I said, that's politics right there. That's what it means to go out and learn. So I think that's happening. I've gotten way better at this. So one thing I did when I started running 2 cycles ago is I did a bunch of door-to-door canvassing work myself. I didn't pay anyone else to do it. I went door-to-door myself in Culver City, Ladera Heights, Baldwin Hills, View Park, Miracle Mile, Pico Robertson. All right. And I asked people, what are you most concerned about? Because I believe in representative democracy. I think I've probably shared this information with just about everybody that's on this call already, but you know, what people say is homelessness. So I've made it my business over the past 3 years to become an expert in the issue of homelessness in the United States. That's a bold statement from me. If anyone hasn't heard me tell you this, you know, what we know from the published peer-reviewed literature is that the homelessness services success story of the entire United States is Houston, Texas. Los Angeles sent a delegation to Houston 3 years ago. That's why we created ECRA and the Leadership Table for Regional Homelessness Alignment. Every month, I attend the LASA Commission meeting. I attend the La Casa Commission meeting. I attend the HACLA Commission meeting. I attend ECRA. I attend Leadership Table for Regional Homelessness Alignment. And if I can make it over to the court hearings for LA Alliance for Human Rights versus City of LA, the most important homelessness case in LA in the past 10 years, I go to those. So that's one issue that is super important to voters in the 55th. All 4 of us candidates that are running for this seat are pro-reparations. That's an issue I didn't know that much about 3 years ago. It has been such an honor and a pleasure to learn about it from the top reparations activists in the United States. And on January 7th, 2025, a whole bunch of us went up to Sacramento and we lobbied all 120 state legislators on the issue of reparations. Something I've shared with my friends, reparations activists here, all of whose names I know, but I would not want to imply endorsement, so I'm not going to say their name right now. But I share, look at the whole United States, find a candidate that's running for state level or above office, who does at least 10 in-person events a week, and who has pro-reparations printed on the literature that he or she hands to voters or people that she or he is meeting, right? That's a description of me. As a consequence of doing that, I have an incredibly well-developed sense of how diverse communities feel about this incredibly important issue. And I have come to understand that it's going to require a movement. And I feel like I'm part of that movement. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. Thank you for giving us that information. We're glad to have you here today and glad that you were able to share. And finally, we have our Assemblyman Isaac Bryan.
It's good to be with you all.
All right, thank you.
I'm here because I ran into a number of you at the State of Black California, and you asked if I would come. And I'm here because of you, and because you asked. When I got started in politics, it's not because I wanted anything to do with politics. I grew up not knowing elected officials, not believing things could change. I was born to a teenage mother who survived an assault, gave me up at birth. I was adopted in my second foster home, a family that adopted 9 of us. Their foster parents for 30 years, over 200 kids came through the house. I knew at an early age that poverty and struggle led to family separation. That family separation led to underperformance in schools, which led to the juvenile justice system, led to incarceration and homelessness. I just saw it. I knew it. It played out for a number of my siblings. I have siblings who are incarcerated right now. I have siblings who are housing insecure, economically insecure. For me, I thought the pathway was education. That's the only way I knew how to escape my circumstances. And so I hustled and I grinded, made it to UCLA, got my master's in public policy. While I was at UCLA, you also could have caught me at the BJ's at the Fox Hills Mall slanging Pazookies. So some of you remember those days. While I was at UCLA, I finally learned the language to describe the conditions of life that I had been living in, how to analyze it, how to measure it, how to track it, and how to move on it. So when I started organizing in community, I became a member of the executive committee of the Justice LA Coalition. We used to show up to the county building with 1,000 people. Part of the reason we organized is because they wanted to build a $3.5 million jail facility. They signed a contract to build that jail facility. We got the county to abandon that contract and invest those funds in community. They didn't build that new women's jail facility because we made the argument that if you invest in gender equity, you invest in making sure that mothers aren't struggling to pay for diapers and basic supplies, that you wouldn't have to build a jail to house them. We also pushed to launch the youth development department. No other county in the country has a youth development department because we know that just caging our young people isn't a solution. We've actually got to invest in them. The last piece of work I did with the county was running the Measure J ballot committee back in 2020, where we called after the murder of George Floyd for 10% of the unrestricted county revenue to go directly to youth development, small business support, affordable housing, and community development. And we prevented any of those funds from being taken by law enforcement. It had to go to programs that actually uplift the community. I also served on a task force with Superintendent Austin Butner to give recommendations on what to do about school police. Because I wrote the report at UCLA that showed that 1 in 3 arrests from our school police were our kids in middle school or younger. And because of our work and with Student Deserve, we pushed police off of the school campuses and we launched the BSAP program, the Black Student Achievement Program. Key part of that. That led me to running for office because I realized you could have good research, you could have an organized community, but you also need people in the positions to make changes. And since I've been in office, we've made tremendous changes. For women, we fought to make sure that every incarcerated woman has access to menstrual care products. We developed the first reproductive health law and policy center at UCLA. For our young people, we launched a statewide youth development fund. We are fighting right now to give our kids who are incarcerated the right to hug their parents when they come visit them. I can't believe that's not a thing, but we're about to change the law and make that work. We've put billions of dollars into community schools at the state level and fought to make sure that we don't balance the budget off of our future. For our seniors, last year we passed legislation to make sure that if your Social Security gets cut by the Trump administration, your landlord can't evict you right away. Fighting against police brutality, we passed SB 2 to make sure that police officers who have been fired from one department can't be hired at another one. We found out last year that they were doing these things called clean record agreements, where they basically sign a non-disclosure agreement in a racial misconduct. So we passed a law just last year to prevent them from using clean record agreements and make any previous clean record agreement that they've used available to the public. In our prisons, because I have loved ones who are incarcerated, and that's a core part of my organizing, we fought last year to increase the wages of incarcerated firefighters 700%. We were paying slave wages. We have for 100 years. Now they will make the federal minimum wage. It's the first time incarcerated people in California will have a W-2 because they earned enough for their life-saving work. We saw them on the Palisades fire. We saw them on the Eaton fire. They deserved it and we need it. Here locally, we also have the largest urban oil field in the country. I'm the first Black person to ever chair the Natural Resource Committee. My priority was to shut that thing down. We passed legislation 2 years ago to shut down this giant oil field because it's not producing oil that'll lower our gas prices. It's just lowering our life expectancies. We've also called for that oil company to pay $20 million a year into a community repair fund that can only go to us. We have legislation this year that makes sure that the first $5 million from that fund goes in direct cash payments to families who have children with asthma and other heart conditions. There's more I could tell you, but
Thank you so much, Assemblyman Bryan. Got caught up there, and then we got you on the Oscar, the Oscar music coming up. I want to also remind all of our stakeholders and all of the people on the call that as an assembly person, most of their work, all of their work is done at the state level. So we were talking about state budgets, state funds that are directed to our local area. So, keep that in mind as we're asking the questions and making sure that it's something that from a state level that the candidate's going to impact it. Guess I'll ask question first to Ashley. Ashley, in keeping with the theme of being on a state level representative, you had mentioned in your opening remarks your emphasis on women's health and mental health, and also education. And I was just wondering if you had any insight on at the state level how you can impact that if you were elected.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. So with the state, the policies and my frustration with the assembly for a number of years, I tell a joke from when I was a kid that there are a lot of policies and we're always like, who wrote this? So the issue is that there's no implementation teeth to most of these policies. So where I would feel that I am most effective is through the implementation practices. So yes, we say many things. There's been a number of different policies written about helping the youth, but it doesn't say how. It leaves way too much ambiguity, and then there's no real clear funding lines for it. It doesn't say how they will fund this policy, how they will do this. Same thing with the mental health policy. So with the mental health, there's the California Department of Mental Health, there's the local departments, and there's school mental health through different school districts, right? None of them talk. So we spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to maneuver when that can be fixed with the policy level. So that's what I aim to work on.
Okay, thank you. I know we see a bunch of hands raised right now. Denise, if you have a question from a stakeholder,
Yeah, I have.
If they want to ask it.
I didn't know if you were going to ask each candidate that one question and we were going to go into the stakeholders, but
We could do that. I have follow-up questions for them.
no, just ask that same question to all the stakeholders. I mean, to all the candidates, and then we'll just go into the stakeholder questions.
Okay, no worries. I do have.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I was just going to say maybe that one was specific to Ashley since you talked about mental health,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. All right.
No worries.
All right,
no
well,
worries.
then we can move on. Saray,
Thank you. I'll be really, really quick. My question is for Ashley, the candidate. And it's to Ashley because I pretty much know all the other candidates quite well. Assembly member Isaac Bryan, thank you for coming.
the question, please.
I give me 30 seconds and I promise you'll hear my question.
Please get to the question. Thank you.
No problem, Johnny. Let me breathe and get my question out. So I know most of the candidates is why I'm going to ask my question to Ashley. And again, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it, Billion and Keith and Ashley. And the question is to Ashley because I'm also a teacher, and I want to know, because I don't know much about you, Ashley. I'm sorry, but I would like to learn more about your positions on teacher residency programs. And for those that don't know what that is, that's basically teacher recruitment and getting teachers prepared and qualified for teaching. and the results are outstanding as far as what they bring back, what these programs bring back to the community. So Ashley, if you know about that, if you have any ideas on that, I think that would be a great discussion. And thank you for your patience.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. So I am a school social worker. I have been working at LAUSD since I was 18 in various capacities. So I'm very familiar with teacher residency programs. Working through my union work and advocacy in the union, we have been working hard with the district to not only recruit Black educators, but keep them here. And that's in all scopes. So whether they're a social worker or they are a teacher, we are trying to recruit Black educators. So the hard part, I'm gonna just call a spade, is California has an affordability problem. So we go all the way to HBCUs, which are primarily in the South. And then once they get here, they're like, I can't afford to be here. I can't afford to stay here. I can't even afford to work here. Some of the work that we just fixed was the salary table in LAUSD specifically to make California a little bit more affordable for our educators. But how you could do that on a state level when we have such an affordability crisis, we would have to fix some of the other structural issues in the state, such as affordability, housing, and those things, and to make a teacher program more accessible to a lot of our Black educators in California. I hope that answers your
Perfectly.
question.
Thank you so much.
Romero, you're next.
This question is for Isaac. Isaac, the question is regarding SB 79. Most of the neighborhoods in this neighborhood council are single-family neighborhoods. SB 79 allows for higher density in areas adjacent to high transit corridors. That affects most of the neighborhoods in this neighborhood council. My question is, my understanding is that the bill was approved to the governor by one vote. Can you tell us what your position was and why you did or did not vote for this particular bill?
Yeah, that's easy. I didn't vote for it. So that one vote wasn't mine. But I struggle on two fronts because we need more housing. I live in one of our single family neighborhoods in Leimert Park. We need more housing. And it makes some degree of sense to build it where people can ride public transit to get to their jobs. My frustration is that we only tend to think about density when it comes to our neighborhoods. When it comes to the Crenshaw corridor, we don't ever think about it on the west side, even of my same district. And that's where my frustration is, because the other problem with building is you go where you can buy housing and land the cheapest to try to flip it, which is disproportionately us. So even though we need housing, we're 500,000 units behind. Our people need housing the most. It's a balance. It's a balance between preserving what we have, where you redlined us, where you put us, the neighborhoods we built and made special, versus where we can and should build. And I didn't feel like 79 struck the right balance for our district. And so I didn't vote for it.
And not voting, would it have made a difference had you voted against it?
No, it would have made a difference if I voted for it, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, let's go with Angela.
Yes, my question is for all candidates. And the question is, will you prioritize the expressed concerns of your constituents, or will you basically fall in line and do whatever the governor or a political party wants you to do?
Let's go ahead. Let's have Billion, if you want to chime in on this one to start off, and then let's go to Keith, and then back to Angela.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so basically my question is, to what extent will you prioritize the expressed concerns of the constituents over what a political party or the governor wants you to do? Like, will what the governor asks you to do trump what your constituents ask you to do? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
yeah, and again, that's why I'm running as no party preference. I'm not bound to no agenda. I'm not going to sit up and watch our people push an agenda and then allow the governor to have me shut down what the people have worked for, and in turn take the money that is supposed to be allocated for the people and give it to specific organizations, such as what has happened with the reparations movement. There was $12 million allocated to further the cause of reparations. But after the California Legislative Black Caucus blocked those bills to accommodate Gavin Newsom, they then also turned around and made sure the $6 million, part of which went to tithes, and another $6 million will be awarded to organizations they pick and choose. I believe some even on this call. And again, that's been the game. You know, a lot of these officials will brag about what they've done, but when you really look into what's actually coming out of it, it's only the organizations, nonprofits that they're working with that actually get funded. So to answer your question, no, Republicans, Democrats, none of that will influence what I'm doing. What I'm doing, just like the work we've been doing in the community. A few days ago, you know, Kevin stepped up to save a Black woman. So whoever's making that foolish comment is not fully disclosing what really happened in that situation. But we're only bound to God, our ancestors, and our people.
Thank you. Keith, you want to handle that question?
Oh, thanks so much for that great question. You know, whatever being a Republican means to me, and I've been talking to voters in the 55th about that for over 4 years now, the first obligation of an electeds and voters of her or his district, that is representative democracy. That's our system. I insist that that's our system. That's the model. In California's most historic Black district, that means, first of all, being more honest about American history. And there's so much force against that. I am 47 years old, and whenever I reflect on it, it strikes me what a powerful and effective force there is preventing widespread honesty about American history. The sort of art of protecting the Black community is a skill at noticing the omissions in the telling of that story, fixing those omissions, and then telling the whole story with the terrifying parts added back in, and being able to do that spontaneously, calmly, confidently, eloquently, unapologetically. That's one of the number one skills. That's what we admire most in many Black leaders. For example, the dozens of examples of Black brilliance on display at Tariq Nasheed's Hidden History Museum on Jefferson that many folks may have visited. That is one of the unifying strengths of those visionaries. So, you know, one of my political role models is former Congressman Mike Garcia. He used to get himself in trouble with the Republican Party. That's a Republican congressman from Santa Clarita. He used to go around and say, strong candidates, weak parties. They didn't like that. Another role model of mine in politics, Assemblyman Mike Gatto, a Democrat, was consistently ranked as one of the most independent legislators in California. So I would function in the legislature similarly to Mike Gatto.
Yeah. Thank you, Keith. Okay. Assemblyman Bryan, do you want to handle it? And Angela will have you respond on the after Assemblyman Bryan.
Absolutely. I've always felt a great sense of autonomy, and partially because this district voted me into office in a field of 6 Democrats outright in the primary. And you all have held me down with the highest vote count and highest win percentage in all of Southern California for 3 terms in a row, because we are in lockstep. We move together. It's also because this district is diverse. Many of the questions, even today, you go to the other side of the district and it's difficult, which means I have to make the decision that I believe is right. I have to lean into my inner value set and move. I'll give you a couple examples where I fought the party and the governor. The first, when I first got elected, I was told all Democrats vote yes on the budget. It just is what it is. And if you don't, punishment from the speaker, you get your office moved, you can't chair committees, you get your power decreased. Well, there was a standalone budget to increase our prison spending by $500 million a year. Single budget item. I told the speaker I can't vote for that. You must not have read the bio. I can't do that. He sent 5 different people to talk me down. He sent his chief of staff to threaten my chief of staff. And then the day of the vote, pulled me into his office and he said, "Are you still planning on holding this line?" I said, "Absolutely. I cannot vote for that." And I'm the only Democrat who hasn't voted for increasing the prison budget ever since I've been in office. 2 years ago, the governor, when Prop 36 was on the ballot, I organized the Black Caucus, not just to be against Prop 36, but the governor and the leadership thought, well, maybe we'll run some retail theft crime bills and people will support these bills and not vote for Prop 36, which is more harmful. I said, man, I can't support criminalizing our people just because you believe it's less criminalizing than Prop 36. So I organized the entire Black Caucus to oppose the governor, the speaker, and the pro tem and the retail theft package. And every single one of us, most of us, there were a couple who didn't, most of us voted against that, even though it's not been common. But we found that our strength was if we stood in solidarity, and that's what we did. I've got more examples, but I love the music.
All right. Thank you so much, Assemblyman. Ashley, you want to go ahead and tackle this question?
Sure. Thank you. So first I want to say there's some conversation in the chat over where I came from. I come from schools, and I've been working in schools with the youth, helping the youth for the majority of my life. With that, you see system inequities and you begin to fight for that. So my fight, and you can ask many people in LAUSD, I am not known for holding my tongue. I am not known for doing what they are asking me to do. I'm not known for doing what they say. It's just holding, keeping the peace. If it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. So I would take that same energy to
Listening to Ashley sing.
I would take that same energy to Sacramento with me. If anybody is familiar with social workers, not the DCFS kind, but social workers who meet and work with people in different areas, you are working across different personalities, different political ideologies, different thought process daily. And if anybody has ever worked in a school, schools are deeply political. So this is things that I do regularly. And I have to, because I have to work with people who I don't know that well. I have to work with people I don't necessarily agree with, or sometimes I have to work with people I don't even particularly care for, but that's the work. And I do it regularly and often. And I would carry that same process into Sacramento.
Yeah. Thank you. Do we have another question, Denise, from our stakeholders?
Some of these hands down. So the next person is Misty and then Jennifer. Misty?
I'm going to pass on my question for now.
Jennifer?
Okay, thanks, Denise. My question is for Keith Cascio. In your opening statement, and I don't want to misquote you, but you said something to the effect of, excuse me, your party wasn't treated fairly or wasn't trusted by, numerous sub-communities within the district. So my question is, why is the Republican Party, you feel, not, represented or treated fairly? And what is it about you that is the breath of fresh air that we should trust and vote for?
What a pleasant question. And it's all about trust, and you can't rush trust and you can't force trust. And so luckily I enjoy the political process so much, and I never wanted to stop. It's incredibly life transforming for me to form the relationships and try to find these ways of building bridges of trust. But my party, the Republican Party, is the cult of Trump right now. I am not a pro-Trump candidate. There is way too much toxicity in the Los Angeles County Republican Party. I'm the former elected treasurer of LAGOP. The reason the party is not trusted is because of decades of bad faith and neglect. So I am the pro-choice, pro-marriage equality, pro-immigration, pro-Black, pro-reparations, moderate Republican, running again for the district that is California's most historic Black district, contains the most significant Jewish community in California, 25% Latino, it's 11% Asian, it's the most diverse. I am not in politics because I need a job and I'm not in politics because I need it for money. And so I'm able to, try to stake out something new. And thank you so much for using the words breath of fresh air. In New York, where I'm originally from, Brooklyn, New York, I've been in LA for 25 years. In Chicago, in LA, we have what political scientists call machine politics. It gets very stuffy. There's a lack of accountability. There's a lack of competition. It would just be oxygen into the system if there could be, if hypothetically it's possible, there could be a trustworthy Republican candidate that would vote the right way on bills. It would be like a burst of oxygen into our district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next is Max, then Tony.
I have a question for all candidates about Prop 13, which has raised rents. It promised to lower rents, it raised rents, and it's let corporations dodge tax reassessment through loopholes. Now homeowners and renters are carrying 75% of the state's property tax burden. Corporations and commercial property pay 25%. Do you support the framework of Prop 15 that will reassess commercial properties without touching homeowner protections? And what are your thoughts on Prop 13 in general?
Happy to go first.
Go ahead.
The answer is yes. Prop 13 initially was to protect the generational wealth that we had in our homes so that grandma doesn't lose her house because her property taxes have risen while she's been living on a fixed income. And I believe in protecting that. But what we did and what special interests fought for was corporate protections. So Disneyland has been paying the same property tax since Prop 13 passed. The Fairmont in Santa Monica has been paying the same property tax. That's $20 billion a year in corporate subsidies to these corporations who have plenty of wealth that could be going to our schools. We tried to do this back in the day with schools and community first. I was on the front lines of that campaign. We lost by just a couple of percent. I don't think we can give up. I think we need to continue to make that fight. Those dollars belong back in the community. We didn't pass Prop 13 to protect the property tax wealth of corporations that are making and exploiting their employees at a disproportionate rate at a time when wealth inequality is higher than it's ever been. We've got to step into this fight. And I think we should have gubernatorial candidates who are talking about it. I think we should all constantly be talking about it. And we also need to be prepared for this fight because last time they spent an ungodly sum of money to protect that loophole because they know it's worth $20 billion a year, which means in a fight to erase it, they'll spend at least $20 billion to keep it. And so we've got to be ready for this. It's a major fight. I think it's going to come back up, not this cycle, but probably next cycle. And so everybody should know about this issue and be ready to engage.
Okay, thank you. Billion, do you want to take a shot at this question?
Yeah, on the surface, the little bit that I know about it sounds great, but that is being supported and sold by Democrats. I would most definitely encourage all of us to find out more because we know too often when we are sold something to buy into it, the small print that we're not familiar with too often is what gets us caught up. And right now, we know a lot of our people are losing properties. So I will thoroughly look more into it. And I encourage everyone, because again, right now, we know they're trying to displace us. And part of our displacement has come through us buying into things that we didn't clearly overstand on the back end would actually get us caught up.
Okay. Thank you. Ashley, would you like to make a comment?
Thank you. So I do want to say that agree that on the surface, it does seem like something that I would absolutely support. And I do want to say that maintaining property taxes for homeowners is extremely important, and adjusting that loophole for billionaires, and not billion the person, but billionaires and corporations is also something that we need to address. How we do that is important. I do agree with both the Assembly member and Billion in their statements. I agree with the Assembly member that we really need to be paying attention to this and be ready for this fight. But I also agree with Billion that the fine print matters. That's a part of that implementation part that I was talking about, and making sure that we are doing things that are important for us as hold our community strong. And I think we've all recognized that our communities are changing. So we need to just make sure that we are paying attention and also voting on things that help us versus harm us. So as of current, Max, to answer your question, Prop 15 sounds like it will fix that loophole while maintaining progress and sustainability for our current homeowners. However, we just need to read thoroughly, and I plan to read thoroughly to ensure that it's not harmful on the back end.
Thank you. Keith, you have the last say on this particular question.
Thanks so much. Let me see if I can add something. So Prop 13, 1978. You basically cannot understand the state of California without knowing about Prop 13. It's like a lot of things that we think of as being special about California. It's all a side effect of Prop 13. I thought a lot about it. It definitely has an impact, as this question stated, on housing scarcity and those kind of effects. I'm endorsed by the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association. I do not believe in the following. I do not believe in changing the rules on people after the fact. When you create an economic sort of system and then you say, oh, guess what? No, we're gonna change that rule. I believe that there's a way to relax Prop 13 like piecemeal, voluntarily, on a community by community basis. And I thought a lot about how that would be structured. So that would be, instead of across the board, changing some of the most fundamental tax laws in California, making it more that there are incentives that are good enough that actually communities will sign on to it. And by the way, splitting off commercial from residential is called split roll, and it's very controversial. But I'm not in favor of a across the board repeal of Prop 13, either for commercial or residential. Thank you.
Okay, Tony, then Alicia.
Good morning. It's so refreshing to see all these beautiful Black people on a Saturday morning on this Zoom. I appreciate y'all. My question would be this, with the exception of you, Brother Bryan, but mine for you would be a little different. If you guys were to win, what committees would you sit on that you try to sit, and what would you bring differently than currently exist on those committees? And if you would, my dear brother Isaac, share with me what you've done on the committees, what committees you sit on, and what you've done differently.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go with Billion. You want to start us off on this one?
Well,
Billion, are you
finance,
there?
most definitely, to make sure we get the reparation bills pushed forward. Not having any experience sitting on them, I can't say. But what I would look to do differently, right now we have people, as soon as we mention reparations, they're filing lawsuits or whatever they can to block it. So clearly what needs to happen is disrupting other people's funding. We see the Jewish community is responding quickly to disrupt all type of reparations coming to us. So that means that needs to be challenged. The funding that's going to the immigrant community, while we got Black people out here dying on the sidewalks, that needs to be challenged. We have to completely switch the way the operating has been going, because it's been to our disadvantage. I will most definitely get in there and be whatever is necessary to disrupt this practice that is getting us pushed out of this state at the largest percentage.
Yeah, thank you. Ashley, would you like to take your turn at this question?
Yes, thank you. Off the top, I would say education is one of the main committees that I would join in first. But also human services. I think we often approach human service professions as a business, and human services are just that, human services. And we need to make sure that we are really working with people from a humanistic perspective versus treating them like cattle employees. And we've got to move better. Also, I'm not sure what bills are coming out of education right now, but it's been a lot of questionable ones over the years. And so having someone like myself and pulling in some of the other educators that are in the assembly to really work towards getting that implementation piece together on our bills in education would be something that I want to work towards as well. And then lastly, health. We've got to incorporate mental health in our healthcare standpoint. It is not a addition, it is not a luxury, it is important. And if we want to address our homelessness population, we have to address their mental health, not because they're on drugs, as I've seen a lot of the gubernatorial candidates say, but because they have real struggles and they are addressing real life issues, real life concerns. And I need to stabilize my nervous system. In the Black community, lastly, in my last 20 seconds, we are dying at alarming rates because we are not stabilizing our nervous system, and the cortisol is killing us slowly by heart attacks. Our mental health is absolutely important. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Keith, we're going to let you take a shot at answering this question.
Okay, my friend Tony, and thank you so much for the columns you write in the Sentinel. The committees, housing and community development, because I'd like to have an impact on the #1 issue for voters in the district, which is homelessness. Public safety, because I'd like to have an impact on the #2 issue, according to my canvassing. That's the second thing people tend to talk about is public safety. And #3, transportation, because in our district, we've got about 7 miles of the E line that go through our district. We've got the 10 freeway coming through our district. And we've got, 2 different bus systems in our district. Public transportation is super important. Thank you.
All right. And of course, Assemblyman Bryan, we'll let you have the last word on this particular question, because I think Tony had a specific thing he wanted to ask. If he wanted to redirect and ask you directly, that's fine.
Yeah, I got what Tony asked, and I appreciate the nuance on it. Also, I appreciate the 2 other candidates who could name committees that actually exist. I chaired the elections committee for a couple of years, and while I chaired the elections committee, we ended prison gerrymandering. They used to draw political boundaries based on population. They used to count incarcerated people as part of a local population. And we know that disproportionately impacted us, because as you kidnap us from our neighborhoods or arrest us from our neighborhoods, ship us off to Lancaster, but then count us up there, or ship us off to the middle of nowhere and you count us up there. So we ended prison gerrymandering. I was also critical in putting Prop 50 on the ballot and helping usher it to success. I chair the Natural Resource Committee. As I mentioned, I wanted to shut down this oil field in our community that's been lowering our life expectancy, but not our gas prices. And so we passed legislation to do that. Also, while chairing the Natural Resource Committee, a giant climate bond came through the state of California. And I realized the Baldwin Hills Conservancy, our conservancy, was the least funded of all the conservancies. And so we put $70 million into the Baldwin Hills Conservancy to make sure they got just as much money as the Santa Monica Conservancy, so that we can invest in parks and green spaces and building out the kind of infrastructure that we need and deserve. I currently sit on the Judiciary Committee, where I have a major standing in all things that impact the child welfare system, including returning hundreds of millions of dollars that were stolen from foster youth who had lost their parents. Lastly, I sit on the Privacy and Consumer Protections Committee, where I'm pushing back against AI that's displacing jobs. We've got legislation this year that would ban certain types of surveillance in the workplace, these kind of AI tools that are suggesting people for disciplinary action or firing without taking into account that these algorithms are racist and also discriminate against folks with disabilities. And so we are actively using whatever positions of power we're in and whatever committees we serve on to advance an agenda that supports our folks.
Thank you. Do we have another question from our...
We have Alicia, then Kiana, then Misty.
Good morning. My question is going to all the candidates. I'd like to know what your position is on a possible moratorium far as protecting our traditional single-family neighborhoods against the intrusion of developers. These developers are destroying our neighborhoods with multifamily buildings with no parking required on the progress of the permitting progress. Just because it's near a bus line, that's great. But it seems like there's absolutely no consideration to the fact that all of a sudden my mom and me, because I'm a 3-generation Angelino, our houses are being overshadowed by these little pop-up apartment buildings that are going up. And it doesn't seem like the money is money that is beneficial, but it is destroying our neighborhoods. It's taking down our property values. This is not a benefit. I was disappointed.
That question.
Oh, my question is what is your position on protecting traditional single-family neighborhoods?
Okay. We'll start off with Billion on this one.
Yeah, and that's exactly why folks need to vote me in. Again, part of our work has been fighting the developers along Crenshaw. As a grassroots organization, we have been limited in what we have been doing, and too often we have found at the end of our fights, like what's happening with the EDD building right now. Folks fought to get the EDD back. They said they would come back. However, Senator Lola Smallwood Cuevas has created a situation that now sets herself up to potentially have an organization she works with to purchase that space for their own personal use. Much of what is happening with the development isn't just happening, it's been approved, it's been allowed from a lot of folks to in office. And we know this thing that they're selling about affordable housing is not for us. So it's clearly something that is going to further displace us. Now that SB 79 is allowing them to come further into the residential areas, that's going to disrupt communities. And if they acquire enough spaces, they will use eminent domain like we're seeing in Inglewood. So again, folks, get me in there. I will be the one to fight this and push back against this. Because right now, those who are in office are allowing this to happen, regardless of what they try to sell us during campaign season.
Okay, really quickly, I think you're running at the end of the time. Where is the EDD building that you're referencing? Just so everyone knows and has a reference point.
It's right there on Crenshaw and 54th. You know, it operated for years, then it was shut down for several years. And like I said, community fought to get them back. They agreed to come back. But now Lola Smallwood Cuevas has headed a situation that will allow a community land trust to purchase it. And we know she specifically is working with certain organizations to do just that, as opposed to allowing it to provide a community service.
Okay, thank you. Let's say, Keith, you want to go ahead and take this one?
Okay, thanks so much for the question. Alicia, you're in Village Green. I wonder if you knew my friend Retha Simon when she was still with us on the earth, but you asked about one of the most important policy questions in California right now. We definitely have a housing crisis in California. The question is what to do about it. You know, you're asking about something that sometimes goes by the name upzoning. It's also called infill. It's also called Manhattanification, you know, and it involves, you know, people living without cars, for example. What I would point to is this: if you're planning to go to a community meeting or a planning meeting where you're going to represent yourself and folks like you, you know, you could bring up that a lot of the zoning law change bills are justified with the claim that it is going to alleviate homelessness, or that it's going to solve homelessness. So one way you can look at it is just like, okay, so we're talking about rezoning California. We think it's going to impact homelessness. You know, a person that ran as an independent for governor in 2022, Michael Schellenberger, wrote a book that many folks may be familiar with called San Francisco. He basically analyzed with enormous amounts of data, you know, whether changing zoning would specifically impact homelessness. He concluded the answer is no. And so one thing that folks like in Ladera Heights, or folks in Village Green, or folks in Leimert Park, View Park, that are concerned about the changing of the character of the neighborhood, you know, if you educate on that issue, you know, it can help to have a stronger position in saying, well, okay, so you're talking about making some of the most significant zoning changes in the entire history of California, okay, and you say that it's going to have this effect. Can you really, you know, support that? And then if not, then why are we doing this? Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Keith. Can you mention the name of the book again? Just maybe for reference for people that are on that might want to do some research.
All right, Michael Schellenberger's book, San Francisco.
Okay. San Francisco. San Francisco. Thank you. All right. Assemblyman Bryan, you want to handle this? And Ashley, we'll come to you right after that.
Absolutely. And I apologize. I have an 11:30 other community forum that I need to get to in just a minute. This is
Yeah.
important. I think protecting the neighborhoods that we were redlined into is a priority. And what's difficult about it is it's not a unnuanced question, because 54% of Los Angeles and disproportionately our folks are also renters. They don't have property values to protect. If we don't build any housing, our kids can't live in the same neighborhoods that they grew up in, right? Our grandkids can't live in the same neighborhoods they grew up in. That, to me, though, doesn't mean that we blow up the communities that they grew up in. And so that's the balance that we're trying to strike. That's the balance that we need to have honest with community conversations. I'm also not a fan of anything being pushed down on the south side that's not also happening on the west side. If we all have to build, then we all have to build. But don't just force development in Black neighborhoods. Don't just force development where you think you can buy houses as our folks are aging out, or buy housing because the land value is cheaper. You've got to make the west side of the district do the same thing. And so often I stand up against those things or fail to support them, even though I was one of the founding members of the Renters Caucus. When I got to the legislature, there were only 5 of us that paid rent. Everybody else owned a home. And so that experience of being and I'm also the youngest member of the Black Caucus, so it makes sense that I was a renter. And that's the reality of so many in our community. And so we've got to strike this balance, but also if we don't want to build things, then we also need to be talking about tenants' rights and tenants' protections. If we don't want to give folks more places to live and increase the supply so there's more availability and more competition for affordable rents, then we've got to make sure that folks can keep the units that they already have and keep them affordable. All of this is a larger, broader conversation, but I know our community can handle it, and I know we need to have it.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank you. I know you said you had another commitment when you committed to this, so we appreciate you joining our candidates forum. And for the stakeholders, we're still going to continue with the other candidates in lieu of Assemblyman Isaac Bryan having to leave. And for the rest of, okay, thank you. For the rest of the hands raised, it's taking us, when you ask for a question for all candidates, it takes us into longer and we're not able to address all the questions that people who have their hands up. So let's try to work within that. And once again, just ask your question. Don't go into a whole story about it. Just get to the question, because we're trying to manage our time. I appreciate that. Thank you. So next is Kiana.
Well, we needed Ashley to be able
Oh,
to answer the last question.
Ashley. I'm sorry, Ashley.
Go ahead.
No problem. Thank you. I do want to say that one thing is certain that Assemblymember Bryan is talking about is that we're not able to afford homes, which is, I do want to point out, the millennial struggle. Then we also need to talk about affordability. However, I do believe that Alicia's question was about the building and how they're placing buildings next to bus lines and calling it transportation services. Well, we don't need the car, and they are not building parking, so we don't need cars. We're next to a bus stop, and they're building right next to lines, and it's causing parking problems. It's causing difficult problems in the community. That is a problem. There is a situation in Mid-City where they were discussing the building of the K line, and it's been a big discrepancy because young people, the younger people, the 19-20-year-olds are like, we need public transportation. And the community that owns homes are like, you're disrupting our communities. It is absolutely imperative that we figure out how we are building for the future while also not disrupting what already is, which is what I believe that Miss Alicia was speaking to. And so I do understand her frustration and her being upset about it destroying the communities. However, public transportation is important, and having affordable housing is important. I think, again, back to the implementation piece that I've been referring to this entire session, I think how we do that is important, and that's a part of the implementation process. So we need to look at that further when I make it to the assembly.
Okay. We had another question coming from our hand
Kiana.
raised.
Kiana.
Hi, thank you. I'm not going to turn the timer on because I'm going to be quick, and I'm the timer person. My question is only for Keith. Keith, I was just curious, as a Republican, I know you said that you're not part of the Trump cult, but I'm curious if you voted for him on any of the last 3 presidential elections.
All right, thanks, Kiana. What a common question I get. Your question is well taken. I believe that on air, I'm going to be answering that question fairly soon. So stay tuned for that. In this forum setting that is not conversational, I'm not going to answer that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Misty. Misty,
you're on mute. I
You're
think
muted.
My bad. My question was going to be for the Assemblyman to address some of his criticisms, but since he's gone, I would like for everyone to address experience you've had collaborating with people on the opposite side of the aisle, which is often required in order to get legislation passed. You have to work and collaborate with people of different beliefs, different political standings, different religious beliefs, and things of that nature. And so I would like for you all to address any experience that you've had working either on difficult topics or with people who are completely misaligned with sort of your beliefs or practices, and whether or not you've been successful in collaborating or working with people from other groups. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. We're going to let Keith, you go ahead and start us off on this one. Then we'll go to Ashley and then Billion.
All right, what a great question. You know, when I set out running in the 2022 cycle, I just wasn't sure how this would feel. I wasn't sure, you know, what it would be like to run as a Republican in a district that is the 3rd most Democrat district in California. If I didn't get along with Democrats, there would be really no point in what I'm doing. Most of my voting life, I was registered with the Green Party. And so let me give you some specifics about some fascinating things that have been happening that I never would have thought happened. I keep getting invited to like big Democrat events. So just the other day, I was at the New Frontier Democratic Club's 66th annual awards dinner. The largest Latino Democratic club in the United States, Avance, invites me to their Taco and Politic event. Citizens for Accountable Leadership, the events that happen at the Casablanca Mansion. I find myself at those. Basically, our district is, for all intents and purposes, it's all Democrats. There's a sprinkling of Republicans who mostly don't bother to vote. It's basically like comes with the territory that I have a kind of a deeper sense of what's really happening in American politics. So when I'm campaigning in the district and the temperature of the conversation seems to get a little bit too high, I often say the following: I say, can I run something by you? Is it possible that neither one of these parties runs this country? That the ultra wealthy run the United States, that the parties are a joke to them and they laugh themselves sick at anyone who takes these parties seriously. And so frequently, it's incredible the reactions I get, whether I'm talking to a Republican, talking to a Democrat, talking to somebody in the Libertarian. So yeah, that's we need more of that in California, and that's exactly what I would do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Billion, if you're on, you want to handle this question about working across the aisle when you get to the state?
Yeah, so part of what has led to Black displacement at the rate it has happened is because we have allowed those who have assimilated successfully into this system to lead us to believe, you know, we all can just get along. However, we know America is a very predatory, capitalistic nation. And what our organization has found is not until you challenge a lot of these more hostile communities, that's when they come correct. In 2017, we began to see a number of videos and received a number of calls of different Black people who were being assaulted inside of Korean businesses. So we engaged in what we call grand closings for probably over a year. And the end result of that was they began to respect us. They began to hire us. They began to reinvest in our communities. And that's kind of what I was saying when I get to a committee is we have to approach it similarly. Right now, like I was saying, there are a number of folks from the Jewish community and Republicans who are challenging a number of the reparations programs, like the one in San Francisco. They came with a fund. There's an organization, I believe, Pacific Legal, that is challenging that. So that is similar to how we will have to work with these groups. We will have to challenge what they get and earn the respect from them to back up and respect and make sure our communities get the resources we need and stop allowing everybody to think they can just exploit us and use us as they choose.
Okay, thank you. Ashley, would you like to finish up on this particular question?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm doing this work daily. So if anybody who is on this call is familiar with LAUSD and familiar with the BSAT program, every single year it is a fight for our Black students. In the beginning, I worked with an organization quietly because I am an LAUSD employee, Coco, who was working with an organization called Students Deserve to help the students divest from school police and get the supports that they need, because it had been proven over many years. I think it's been about 10 or 15 years at this point, that the LAUSD was doing a disservice to their Black students. So the Office of Civil Rights charged us with fixing the problem. I worked at those schools as an attendance counselor. When I became a social worker, I joined the BSAT program. So what we are doing and constantly fighting for is for academic, cultural, social, emotional supports for our Black students. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because there's always a group of people that feel like Black students don't deserve something or Black people don't deserve something. So they are angry. They feel like we're giving special attention to our Black students. The program has been sued numerous times, and there is a lawsuit currently. We are constantly working across the aisle to explain why our Black kids need and deserve these supports in our communities. So the BSAT program stretches not just in District 55, but other programs. And so this work is daily, it is often, it is constant that I'm working across the aisle with folks who do not believe that our babies deserve everything that they deserve and more.
Thank you. All right. Did you want to go on to the last raised hand?
Yes, Asada. Okay. Asada. Oh.
Okay. Well, maybe you can move on to the next one, Marcus.
Marcus.
Yeah, how's it going, everyone? This question is for all the candidates. Pretty much right now there in Sacramento, there's some political gatekeeping going on. And what I mean is when we try to engage CLBC members about politics related to the Black community, usually we're told that we can't do anything because of the budget. But when we try to go to other legislators, they say that they can't do anything without the blessing of the CLBC. So pretty much our politics are gatekept by the CLBC, yet the CLBC has, many of them have bills that target advancing immigrant rights. And so the question to the candidates is, when you go to Sacramento, will you continue the same trend of basically going with the status quo and gatekeeping our politics? Or will you be willing to step out of line from the rest of the caucus and do what's in the best interest of the Black community?
Okay, we're going to start off with Billion on this question, but Marcus, real quick, if you can just let everybody know the acronym CLBC. I know.
Yeah, when I say
people
CLBC, I
don't
mean
know.
the California Legislative Black Caucus.
Okay, thank you. All right, Billion, you want to answer this one?
Yeah, I think my whole get down is against the status quo. But most definitely, I will make sure again we are prioritized. We will not keep getting pushed to the bottom of the list. Depending on where the rest of the California legislative Black Caucus is once I get there. If I have to do what Senator Stephen Bradford did to push something that is for us, specifically for us forward, and step outside of that, I will. But yeah, for too long, we have unfortunately had too many of our representatives go up there and fall in line with the Democratic agenda and put the Democrat agenda before a Black agenda, a Black specific agenda. So yes, I will most definitely be there to advance our interests against the status quo.
Okay. Thank you. And let's go ahead, Keith. I'm sorry. Yeah, Keith, why don't you go ahead and answer this one?
Okay, thanks for the great question. You mentioned gatekeeping. You know, that relates to bureaucracy. Pretty much the trajectory that wound up with me getting interested in politics, running for office, was my decades of experience in big tech, in American business, where it is suffocating bureaucracy, where it is layer upon layer. And you know, we could read Franz Kafka in order to know the wildness of. And so some folks have more experience dealing with bureaucracy, more nimbleness and skill. It is absolutely a skill to maintain your patience while you're dealing with some of these situations. So with regard to CLBC, you know, as I kind of shared earlier, if a Republican is elected to the 55th, it's a new day. It's a new day. I would say to my brothers and sisters on the CLBC, you know, stuff that we've been hoping for years, this is our chance. Like, because it's a completely new framework of disrupting and interrupting status quo expectations, just sort of boring expectations of the way American politics has proceeded for so long. And so another thing is that because of the old-fashioned way that I've been campaigning, where I go to every single church, by the way, I've worshiped at 77 churches in the district so far, and I'm working my way up to 100. Every single synagogue, every single mosque, you know, I have direct relationships with these community leaders, the CEOs of chambers of commerce, and every type of civic organization. And so it would be an opportunity to say, okay, like, we've been kind of like crushed by bureaucracy for a long time. There's this incredible window of opportunity right now. Let's go for it.
Thank you. And Ashley, if you want to wrap us up with this particular question.
Yes, thank you. So I want to say that status quo is not really my thing. So I do appreciate the question. And I'm just going to say the quiet part out loud: all skin folk and kinfolk. So will I be joining the CLBC? Absolutely. But you can't always fight things from the outside. Sometimes, I think Chris Brown said, how you hating from outside the club when you can't even get in? So sometimes you need to be in the club in order to do the hard work. And so I will not be championing things that are not centering us. We are one thing is for certain that Billion says that is absolutely true. We are absolutely important, and we have been pushed to the back burner, and it is time for us to not be getting pushed to the back burner. Absolutely. But I don't know that the strategy to that is to not be in part of the organization that's been fighting us to some extent, and doing a lot of gatekeeping. That's a problem, generally speaking. We need to be letting the youth in. We need to be mentoring them. We need to be guiding them so that we are positioned to have a stronger community as a whole. So there's a lot of gatekeeping that's happening, not just in the CLBC.
Okay.
We had another question.
Romero.
Sorry, Denise, did you want to talk about the question format?
We're winding down, so we was just trying to have questions directed at individual candidates, if possible.
Yeah, guys, with like 10 minutes left, we can answer more questions if they're directed to a specific candidate instead of all of them, because each of those takes quite a while to answer. So if we can just, if you've got a specific question, maybe point it to one of the candidates. Thank you.
Romero, she dropped off. Okay.
No,
Mac-
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Sorry.
My question, we've talked a lot about youth, a lot about housing, but communities need small businesses. And I'm wondering what is planned, what proposals for increasing small businesses in the communities that are receiving this dense housing, and what's the proposal for increasing employment overall in South Los Angeles?
Who are you directing that question to?
Whoever wants to answer it.
Candidate, whoever wants it, whichever candidate. Ashley, raise your
I can
hand.
answer. Yeah, I can answer. And that's a great question. So I definitely believe that education is a pathway to economic stability. So working with the youth, I see some gaps. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a tad bit concerned. But these are all things that are fixable. So we talk a lot in our community about needing financial literacy, about needing all of these things, but then I'm going to stores and folks don't know how to give me a single dollar back for change. So this is a process that will take some time. So are there community, that is a long-term strategy. The short-term strategy is helping those businesses become more established. So all throughout Leimert and on Degnan, there are businesses that could be in the empty facilities that are on Leimert. It makes absolutely no sense. So we need to be working with the people who own those properties. Why are you not allowing these businesses to have storefronts? Why are you making it difficult for them? Why are you not working with them? That's problematic. So that's a shorter term strategy. This is a multi-layered process. So I'm just gonna sum it up with that. And those are some of the strategies that I would take for for addressing that issue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Max?
Yeah, my question is for Keith.
Oh,
are there two Maxes? Oh, all right. My
My
question
bad.
is for Keith. Yeah, you recommended reading San Francisco, excuse me. That book cites a study by a guy with the last name Fryer, who makes an argument that the police are not using force disproportionately against Black people. And I'm wondering if you support that claim that's made in the book.
Well, Professor Roland Fryer at Harvard is the youngest ever tenured Black professor at Harvard. And his paper that's incredibly famous and incredibly controversial is a scientific paper. He's an economist, and it makes an extremely specific claim that's only about, I believe, shootings of unarmed. It doesn't involve like other uses of force. Are you familiar with that paper? Or actually, I don't know if I can ask, right? This is not a conversation, but basically, I admire Roland Fryer. I admire the heat that he's taken for the work that he does. I think he's simply in a very studied field. You know, he's just made the conversation a little bit more interesting. He has been challenged by his colleagues, and so the reality of American history, though, as we talked about earlier, is hundreds of years of racial violence against Black people. So that's the basic reality of the country, and that's something that absolutely has not been adequately addressed. We had a civil rights movement in the country. It was cut short by assassinations. We need a civil rights 2.0, and so and the way capitalism functions, and we do something in the United States called racial capitalism, where we use differences of race in order to exploit people economically, but in order to exploit people economically, you need to keep them under the threat of force. So that's where the police come in. So basically, this is a civil rights thing, and it needs to be really high quality communication needs to happen in order to make more Americans aware of the reality of the way we live in the country. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna jump out of order and go to Tara because she hasn't had a question yet, and then we're winding down. So we'll see about the last two questions with Saray and
Should we just wrap it up with those last three since we're 5 minutes? Okay.
Tyra?
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to thank the candidates for making time for their, the people in the community and their potential constituents. I think that if people are going to show up, they should commit to the full time. I think it's a little unfair for the assembly member to be able to, jump out of the conversation prior to, everybody getting their questions asked and answered. And just thought it was a bit concerning that the chat was disabled. There's a lot of shutting out of Black voices and of our community's voices, and to disable a chat to where people can't get up on the stage to ask questions, it's a little unfair to disable the chat. And it feels more like an establishment sanitized environment, because we're not here to make people comfortable. We're not here to make candidates comfortable. Our people are not living comfortably. And I think that's a bit unfair. I just wanted to lift that up. But thank you for the candidates who actually stayed for the complete conversation.
Thank you. Saray and Alicia will be the last questions.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I was actually on the basis of my question. And I know that Isaac left early, but he does have a staff member still on here. I don't know if it's appropriate for him to maybe chime in. But my question is directed to Keith and Billion. And Keith, I really appreciate your comments on reaching out to the places of worship. And my question is about peace in the community. And I just really want to hear from you two your goals as far as mobilizing in the spirit of our youth rally too coming up, mobilizing the community to be in the agreements and accord of a more peaceful atmosphere. So it might be a bit of a spiritual question, but I think the members of the community would like to hear your goals as far as establishing more peace, safety, and positive correspondence amongst our constituents.
Okay, when I think about peace in the 55th, I think about the peacefulness activities of Africatown in Leimert Park. I think about Grandmaster Osiris in Leimert Park. I think about a man named Dr. Michael Crosby, if folks have met him, who just won a volunteer award from the city of LA. Actually, I don't want to live anywhere else. I want to live in the 55th. Like the way that we in the district process the current moment in this dangerous moment in American history, and the way we reach out to each other is unlike anywhere else in the United States. Even and so I will share with you that I'm a baptized Catholic, confirmed Episcopalian, and here I am going to all these different, like even the Baha'i Center at the corner of Obama and La Cienega. But the feeling of the most tranquility that I've experienced, to my great surprise, has been actually at the prayers at Islah. But I've also prayed at King Fahad Mosque in Culver City. I've prayed at the Iman Center. I've had intense revelations when I've been in Orthodox synagogues and reading along with they're singing the Hebrew and I'm reading along in English, and I've realized things I never realized about my own religion. But again, we in the district could play a leadership role in teaching the entire rest of the United States how to get along with each other again. Arguably, Leimert Park is a place where the 1960s never ended. Thank goodness, because the work of the 1960s is unfinished. So thank goodness there's a pocket left in the country where we're still trying to do that. So it is anybody who has not found out about what an amazing spiritual experience and a peace promoting spiritual experience you could have in the district, please talk to me, and it's amazing.
Thank you. And I think our board president said that Alicia would be our last question.
Good afternoon. My question is directed to Mr. Cascio. I am very interested in everything that you've had to say, but I'm still kind of nervous about the fact that would you be partnering with the GOP and caucusing with them in the assembly, and would that necessarily be of benefit to this community to caucus with them because they're your party?
Right. So if it's time for me to answer,
Yes, it is.
one thing I've heard is that when the Million Man March happened in Washington, D.C., one of the explicit pieces of advice that was given was register independent. Make the parties compete for your vote. I'm sure folks have heard about that. This is one of the most important questions that voters ask me. I'm a stubborn Sicilian American from Brooklyn, New York. I am not known in my entire life for being easy to push around by somebody that I don't think has the right interests at heart. It's like, what if I were elected as this moderate Republican that I am, then frequently I'm going to vote not the way my colleagues in the Republican Party want me to, and that'll get me in trouble with them. If you want some evidence of this already happening, in the 3 cycles I've been running for office, I've never been attacked in print by Democrats, and I've actually been attacked in print by Republicans, not by the actual leadership of the California Republican Party. By the way, we made history in March 2025. We elected the first ever Black female chair of the California Republican Party. Her name is Corinne Rankin. And the LA County Republican Party, guess what? The chair is a Black female named Roxanne Hogue. So moderates totally control the LA and the California Republican Party. So those are my friends. That's fine. There are MAGA Republicans in California and in Los Angeles that will attack me the way they've already been attacking me. And actually, it helps me. If you go to the press section of my campaign website, I link to the hit pieces that they wrote about me, because if they want to spend their ink calling me a moderate, then that only helps me with voters in the 55th. I hope that, and let's talk more about it if you ever want to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know we're about to conclude, and our board president is going to wrap us up. But I want to thank first and foremost our community for coming out today, helping us keep our leaders and our politicians accountable. We got to remember that the most important date coming up for all of us, June 2nd. June 2nd, most of us have started to receive our ballots. So let's keep the same energy as we move forward into the election process that happens in June. Thank you to the candidates, to Keith, to Billion, to Ashley, and also to Assemblyman Bryan for taking their time out to participate with us today. Also, a thank you to our EQUA board, all of the board members, all of the hard work that goes on behind the scenes, all of the stuff that we're doing behind the scenes to try to bring this information to the community. Thank you so much also for your support. And Denise, go ahead and wrap us
Sounds
up.
like you did a good job. I appreciate you facilitating this meeting and assisting with the candidates forum, and I appreciate all the other board members that assist in this meeting. And without further ado, unless the candidates want to have a last 2 minutes to say something, if you do, raise your hand. If I can see you, I'll give you that opportunity. If not, we're going to say goodbye. I don't see your hands. All right.
Oh, you got Billion. Billion has his hand.
Okay, go ahead, Billion. You're first.
Yeah, family, greetings. First off, I want to thank EQUA for setting up this forum, but I do want for everyone to really think about where we as a community are at right now, and how did we get here, and how do we go forward from here? How do we stabilize our presence here? And insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result. A lot of folks consider myself, our African Town Coalition, to be radical. And what we've actually found the past, not just the few months since we've been campaigning, but the past several years, is when we go into other communities, what we do is really consider common sense. When we step outside of the traditional, let's sit down and have a meeting, let's talk, like I was saying earlier, it wasn't until we fought the Koreans to where we were able to force the Korean American Grocery Association to the table, the Korean American Federation to the table. And that's the same thing we're seeing right now, is there's a very hostile climate to push us out of here, to deny us the resources that we see everybody else is getting. Everybody else is getting the necessary resources unchallenged, including our own representatives are clearly giving them those resources unchallenged. But yet when it comes to giving us what we need, it's not happening. And what we see happening right now at Council District 9, for the first time in 60 years, they will not have a Black representative. That will happen in every single district if we do not get political warriors instead of political prostitutes in place that will keep selling us out. So I love you, and I hope you do what's right and vote me into this position. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Ashley?
No one else
or-
had their hand up, so.
I
Okay.
just want to say thank you. I don't need to speak for an entire 2 minutes. Thank you so much. I will agree that this push out is happening across the board. It is also being seen in our union right now. There's a big anti-Black movement. So we do need to work harder. My job here has been activating people to know and care about their community. I think I've been doing that. My students are asking about this process, and they are loving that the interest in learning about our civic community. So let's just keep up the good work. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. There's no other comments, so we're joining this meeting. Thank you, everybody. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Can I also just
Thank you.
add one more thing? If you enjoyed this and would like to get on our email list or our text list, please either email outreach@ecwandc.org, or you can also drop your email address in the chat and we will add you to the list. Thank you.
Oh, they can't drop it in the chat.
Oh, I guess you can't drop in the chat, but you can email us.
Now.
I forgot the call out to the disabled chat. So you can email Marie. I'm gonna say it again. Outreach, OUTEACH @EquiNDC. That's spelled ECWANDC.org.
And that is
The chat is open.
Okay. I wasn't on tech today.
well, you could always chat to the board, so they could have sent their email addresses.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Billion, real quick, if you want to meet up with me and tell me your question, your answer to the question on peace, that would be great. I would love to hear from you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please move item 7172 to the inactive file.
I just want to know, what did you know about bills not being brought to the floor? There were two critical reparation bills, Senate Bill 1403 and Senate Bill 13.
Forgive me, because there's over 1,000. I'm not very good at the numeric, but
that, it's gonna, the analysis said it's only a couple $1 million to stand it up. And his response was, we want to do it in a different way. We don't want to do it through creating a whole new bureau. We want to do it through the UC system.
So this is Assemblyman Mr. Bryan. He's mad I brought up the reparations vote. So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access to it.
Madam Speaker, I ask that we take up file item 71, SB 1331.
If you decide to start your family tree even without the DNA, 8 or 9 times out of 10, you're going to find your family.
A great number of African Americans can trace their lineage to the period of enslavement.
Lemert was developed by Walter H. Lemert, and in his designing this area, he actually had covenants to where they would not sell to black people.
I supported the bill all session.
Then bring the bill.
Will you vote?
CLBC, can you give them a grade 1 to 10?
Oh, this current crop, as of now, it's a negative.
Vote for the bill, Mr.
Bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill?
Bring it up.
Will you vote for reparations?
Bring it
I
up.
would love it.
Bring it up.
Let's vote for reparations
Bring it
together.
It's a spirit of anti-blackness, and we must call it out. And so I'm going to call out on August 31st, 2024, that the California Legislative Black Caucus, the majority of them, and the governor allowed the enemy to use them to try to keep us down and keep us as bottom-class citizens.
Just think that all the other members have at least about 10 years left.
we're not going anywhere.
I've heard it's slightly changed, and some of the advocates who were part of the coalition last go around are now expressing concerns of whether or not they'll still be able to stand behind it if those changes are not corrected.
In so many years, it will hardly be no black folks left in California. We love y'all, we thank y'all, and we demanding reparations right now.
First of all, America, from the evidence that they gave us, you're guilty.
What happened on August 31st, 2024 was a betrayal.
We know that if we don't have our hand in this process as much as we possibly can, it can be corrupted from the outside. So in terms of our role isn't done until they're issuing the checks for our reparations.
The time for reparations is now.
Yeah. Right now.
What do we want?